Okay, so this is our first podcast. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. First time.
First time, yeah. It's the first time for everything. I always knew we were going to create a podcast one day. I mean, we've been talking about it for forever, right? I always had in mind that once we start a podcast, I would want a little bit of life experience or to have a little bit of something under my hood.
Exactly. And what's better than the last 10 years?
The last 10 years, yeah. So I'm 27 now. I mean, that's still a baby in the eyes of the world. Um, sure, a 27-year-old and his life advice might differ from a 40-year-old and his life advice. But, I mean, what you gonna do?
But I mean, everyone is going through their own journeys, right? And wherever you start off in your 20s leads you to where you are closer to your 30s because we are, transforming with whatever we're doing. And, it feels like a whole new beginning. And yeah, everyone is going through their own journey. So there is no, everyone has different.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone has something unique to offer, something to say about their life experience. So yeah, podcast.
Yeah.
And I know we had in mind for today starting your first business, starting a business. And well, we've been doing that. We've been starting up for about, I would say less than a year, but there's a lot of years of organization and planning and thinking as well. But really a year ago is when we really started to gear in that direction. Um, how do you see on this last year how starting up has been like?
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a challenge, and at the same time, it's been so much fun. And I'm just gonna mention that for the last 10 years, Mickey, our dog, for the last 10 years, I have been working in corporate environments and mainly within marketing, communications department, and I really thrive within content and with things that I have been doing for myself mainly. And I guess 10 years ago, we were already talking about we want our own media company. I remember we had TheKays Media in mind. So we wanted to like make videos for people and be like a digital media agency.
Yeah, it started back then.
It started back then, but we didn't have, like you said, that experience and whatever we did for the past 10 years that led us to where we are now. We didn't have that back then, but we wanted something.
It was sort of like a first attempt at freelancing or a sort of attempt to create more self-sufficiency. And we came to realization, like you said, that um, not enough experience, not enough knowledge just yet. But so then we just went back to get more of those experiences. And it was really about a year ago that it kind of hit where like I feel like I have enough. I have enough, and if I would just go and do another job experience, for example, it would just be more of the same. And I feel like there comes to a point where you feel like if you want to continue growing, you gotta start innovating, start thinking outside the box, and start doing something else. And a business, and in our case, a digital business, seemed perfect for us. I mean, it's the stuff we've been doing for years and years, and why not do it on our own?
Exactly, but it's a perfect realization when you finally realize that you have, the confidence, the expertise, and the experience that you wanted. And now you can have your own business. Now you can start and you can start working on it confidently. And, those experiences, they probably needed to happen
Yeah,
for you to be here where you are right now with this knowledge and your vision. And the last year has been so interesting. It's been like exciting. It's been anxious because it's also like new waters for me.
the nervous system is just all over the place.
It is all over the place, and some days are very productive, then the other days are more like on the lower end, like you feel a bit down and you maybe want to do something else. But I feel like this is the journey that I wanted to be on, and I put myself into this journey from whatever I did. Everything I did had to happen, the experiences, the knowledges, the aha moments that led me to realizing that being my own boss, gives me that inner freedom compared to if I would just decide on working at one company for 10 years. And now it feels like an upgrade that I'm having my own business. Like, because at certain times at work or at certain old past jobs, I probably reached a point where I was like, I'm not learning anything anymore. I'm not doing my best creative work that I want to perform, so I'm not growing really. And when you have your own business now, I feel like I can, and this relates to how the year has been. I have, tried to be a marketing manager, a co-founder, a sort of social media manager, all sorts of roles, and also business development. That's part of building a business, customer service, all these aspects that I had to learn on the spot, on the go, on the day. And it was so fulfilling to, just learn and discover new things and new software. For example, like, oh, I can do this much better with this, or I can utilize this AI tool and I have this much creative freedom, and then this leads to that. And I feel like, I don't feel blocked in a way anymore. I feel like I can always learn so much, and there's so much when you start your own business. And just by trying to be, making sure that the business is developing, that there is a content strategy, that there is LinkedIn presence, all these aspects, just, it sounds a lot and it is a lot, but eventually you kind of like just look from a distant perspective at everything, and you kind of like create your plan in a way, your journey. And you know exactly what steps to take, it feels like.
You developed all the hats you needed to wear now through all those experiences in the past, doing all sorts of different things. And sort of, like if you worked in marketing, or you done social media, or you've been in influencer marketing or whatever, and then you're putting all of it together because you realize you have to utilize all of it for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you, so it's up to you. Whether you do it yourself or if you outsource something, either way, your awareness with it is really valuable.
Exactly. And there's such an exciting feeling to knowing that you have your business in your hands, or you have your day in your hands, or in your control. It's up to you what you do with it. So it's up to you if you want, more clients, or if you want more posts or more content. You gotta do it. That's, yeah.
And what's really mind-blowing to me is I thought when starting a business that she came up with something. I'll get to it. When starting a business, I thought it was going to be really hectic and really busy, and I'm just going to burn out or something. But I've never had more peace of mind after a year. And I just have more and more energy to work on it more and more. Sort of like going to the gym, you get more energy for the day. And that's a big difference. And also, of course, being able to wake up early in the whenever you want, really, and being in charge of your own time.
Yeah, I think that's the best part. Like, you're allowing yourself to do what you set out to do, right? You have your vision, you have your plans and where you want to go and goals and whatever, and you make steps towards it. And when you have that freedom that you have now and the space to do and work on your business, it's such a beautiful thing.
So it's a lot of this professional endeavor in life, whether it's business or whether it is jobs. Starting a business definitely allowed the work-life balance that was so talked about or so thought about during employment times that we were in. Then it was often like, keeping work at certain hours, and you would then like switch and live life, and then you would work. But it was always this duality kind of thing with that, right? Where I know when you're starting a business, everything can kind of blend in together. Like,
Exactly, because then it doesn't feel like work anymore, right? It feels like part of you and part of your day in such a natural way that you don't even see it as work anymore. But indeed, or you go to the office, you come home, but you bring work with you. You're not present with your partner, with your children, if you have, or that was a difference for me as well that I've noticed. And but I can also mention aspects where I was maybe during the year, I discovered that I'm maybe less good at, like, I see myself being good at planning and having a vision, but then the aspect of actually doing. So I I don't know, maybe I was planning too much, and I discovered that instead of sitting down and planning, it's time to do. You can plan and do at the same time because there's always just the present moment. It's never going to be anything different. So it will be either postponing, and I realized that either I'm postponing or I get to do it and I get to see results and continue the cycle. And so in the past year, I've also read way more books than I have read in the previous years, mainly business books and self-growth books as well. And I feel like I have grown a lot while starting our own business because of all the aspects that we had to teach ourselves and discover, and maybe things that are less interesting, but we still have to do them, still have to get to know how it works.
and all of this creates this mind shift, right? Where you also unlearn certain aspects, things you gotta let go of that might be limiting beliefs that might work perfectly well or might be what you need in a job or if in any other kind of scenario.
So I guess that duality, once you feel that, I guess for me, it felt like I was not true to myself then. And that's why I felt certain ways. But I had to go through things and realize these things to get to know that, this is what I want. And if this is what I want, then it's just a natural way of doing things and not seeing it per se as work. Therefore, knowing my limits as well, to not overwork myself. I know when I should work, when I shouldn't work, and also keeping in mind that the doer.
So it seems like, it looks like that self-discovery and business development comes hand in hand because you do get to know a lot about yourself in the process.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the main thing was just really that perspective that you can always start over. In a sense, if you want to switch careers, or if I would want to do something else in my life, then I can. But there were like certain like limits and beliefs that, okay, because I studied this, I have to, do this type of work for the rest of my life. And I had these beliefs and they were really like blocking me. And, the self-growth journey and the books really helped me to discover that I can just, not attach myself to, oh, I'm a marketing manager or I'm this, I'm that.
Just staying open-minded and flexible
Yeah,
for whatever
exactly.
context.
And that gives certain confidence in life that you can do your business. If this is what I really want to do, then I should be able to do it. Because it comes down to it's my life and I make the choices. I can create a business, and whether it fails or goes well, it's up to me to be the judge, right? Because it's, yeah.
Yeah, you could talk about even the definition of failure, and also, well, what's a failure to you, to me, or just like when you start creating a business, I feel like that it's important to just start, and start failing quick. Just start failing so you can get that perspective. Because most of the time, if it's your first time, you're gonna fail. But what does that failure mean? Because then it's another day. Like if you just keep going with it, you're eventually gonna get somewhere with it. And the only one that can tell you what you can and cannot do is yourself, and no one and nothing else. So if you say you can create a business, then you can. And I've approached life that way with many things, that there's certain things I've never done before, but I just decided I can do it, whether it's a physical activity or a sport, or if it's, take skiing or anything else. If I decide I can do it, then my mind is automatically just gonna prepare myself to be able to do it and actually be able to, do it.
Exactly. And if you fail one time, and then, I used to think that when you fail, then it doesn't work out. But thanks to, like the self-growth with that perspective of non-attachment and just starting the day fresh and just knowing that you can do whatever you want to do because this is your life.
So I have an example. I'm going to create a logo for you. The first logo I have in mind, that I know I will be creating a few iterations of the logo, because I know there's going to be feedback. I know there's going to be different points of views. I know there's going to be a little back and forth. And then we arrive at version number 4, which is the logo exactly that you want. And when we create our business, it's sort of like that. I mean, we've been creating 3-4 websites now, and we're getting soon to the point where we want to be with our website. There's just time you need to spend on actually developing these things, and just let it happen, because it does come a point where you're satisfied with something you made, and then you could call that a success.
Yeah.
Right? Many failures in a row to succeed.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Business changes and everything, like we have to adapt to how tech is progressing, how the world is changing, how people even see other brands or companies, I feel like people are way more careful to what they, purchase, or if they see an ad of something, they don't really trust it directly as it used to be. People are more like they need to trust the brand first before they purchase or get a service from you. So I feel like people are way more conscious about these things. So
definitely the aspect of going into business with a conscious point of view, where I always wanted for our business to create a conscious business that connects with people, and that's just not trying to sell some services or be a cash grab or something like that. And I feel like that's where it comes in with trust. It feels like there's a million new brands and things coming out every year, and many are obvious cash grabs and many aren't. But how your brand and how your company is viewed by people is so important.
Definitely. And that trust is so important.
I know we've been creating a few brands in our time. Kids, 27-year-old here,
Like we're 18.
thinking he's old. Wouldn't that be the most typical thing? When I was 20, I thought 30 was like, I'm gonna be an old man.
Now I'm 31.
So all these perspectives of life, perceptions.
Yeah. So failure is great. You learn so much. That's what failure is to me. It's a learning point. It's a learning moment to make your business progress further. And
embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it. And it's so funny because many companies have, for example, started as something way different, and then they just end up being a different type of company because they changed, innovated.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You made a post on our social media a few weeks ago on how certain brands, they were making a business or a product or a certain kind of product, and in the process of developing it, they accidentally developed another product or a platform or something like that that just turns out to be the thing. So say I'm starting an online bakery, or and then I'm developing the stuff for it, but then there turns out that maybe I developed a solution that could, I don't know, maybe not wrong example, but
No, but that's exactly how
it would
can
lead to
go.
something else. Yeah, how things like that can happen.
But it's funny and inspiring at the same time, because that means that one thing has failed, but because they have developed something else in the meantime, maybe by accident even or whatever, that succeeds. So then one thing leads to another. So I see failure as part of success.
So how do you see when someone goes with failure? I always saw it as like someone starts a business, they feel like they're failing, and they simply just, because they think they're failing and that they have failed, they stop staying with it, and I don't know, what would prompt someone to be so passionate about something, but then for them to just stop doing it? Yeah, I guess that touches on.
Exactly. So failure can make you stop believing in yourself or doing whatever you're doing, because you think that you only have like one shot at.
So yeah, either way, failure, success, the duality of it, it is what it is. Either way, there's you in the present moment. So
Yeah, so how has the last year been for you?
yeah, this year has been crazy. It has not been like any other year, and that's what I was looking for, because it felt like each year was the same, and it feels like an entirely new year. A lot of things have opened up. After we initiated the whole business development and all of that, this was a lot of consuming of information, reading books, reading a lot of stuff online, researching topics, researching other businesses, would-be competitors, just seeing how the market landscape looks like. What are people talking about? Why are they talking about certain kind of things? And how can this help with what we are doing? Either way, I feel like it's moving in a very cool direction. And I'm very happy to be here, right here, the way we're doing things now.
Yeah, me too. And interesting, because we have created like 4 versions of our website, like you mentioned before. And in a way, you could say that the first website, we didn't like it, so we decided on the second. And that means the first one failed, right? Failure. But then...
Yeah, so when you work for yourself, it's seemingly a little bit harder to create things when it's for yourself. When you're creating for someone else, it's very obvious what they want, and what you created often becomes the first or the second version that you go with, at least in my experience. So there's definitely more of that perfectionist with our own stuff. And the one thought I've had in my mind every single day I wake up, I just think business, 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 and my mind just going crazy about that. And
Yeah.
I know then it's just that time.
To me, it's knowing that, anything can happen, or there are so many possibilities in a day, because I'm in control. And with our business, if we want to work on our website or create more content or generate more leads or things like that.
Yeah.
So because it's it's such a variety of what we do each day. That's what keeps it so fun and so natural when having your own business. We have talked about the progress of business, the transformation from employment to own business. Yeah, what's next?
What's next? Running the business. I've heard this from somewhere else, where there is the visionary, the architect, and the builder, the doer. And sometimes it's time for the visionary to do his job. Just go around and imagine, and the architect that sees how all of it is possible. How would it be possible? What's needed? How much money would it cost? How long will it take? Etc. etc. And then you have the doer that needs to do all the things, and juggling these three is really key, and knowing when you're not utilizing the right one.
Exactly. I found myself to be less good at one and then a bit better at the other. And then, how do you become better at the one that you're not good at? And that's basically by just doing it, right? But
So going with that awareness that there's so many parts of yourself, and they all fit in together. So yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, starting our own business. So there's a lot we could talk about when it comes to this. I like what we have started in this first episode, and I would love to go deep in so many topics. This would go on forever. So yeah, do you want to keep going? Do you want to end it here? I mean, I'm open for both.
I feel like we've had nice conversation.
Yeah.
As a first.
It's a bit shorter this time just to get things started. And
but we hope that maybe some of you have enjoyed listening. It's definitely fun to talk about everything. I want to say if there's any specific thing we should talk about or people would be interested in, that maybe it's nice to write in the comments. We can always read it. And
sure. There's so much to touch on.
Yeah.
AI, what's happening. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of stuff to just talk about. This podcast will not be limited to business. There's other areas of life, but we'll go with the flow. This is what this episode's about, and whatever the next episode's gonna be about, that's a total mystery to me, and I love that. I love not having everything planned.
Yeah, I like that.
It makes things a little bit more rigid, scripty. Yeah. I like to keep it natural. That before I head into like a podcast like this, that I'm just with the present moment. Because if I'm thinking so much about what I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna go on a script. Oh, now I say this, and then I say that, blah blah blah. Then it's, I don't know, feels unnatural to me.
Yeah, and people see that too and hear that.
Yeah, they will see it.
People always feel
You're
like
exposed.
Yeah, I feel people's energy, and when someone is like faking it,
yeah,
you kind of, or when someone is not faking it, but like
right?
Yeah, not genuine, not themselves, you can really see it.
So yeah, thank you all for listening to episode 1 of. Well, we haven't decided on the name just yet. We have a few ideas. First, we wanted to call it To The Point. There's already 2 podcasts with a decent following that has that. Thought about Straight Up. There exists that exists too. So right now it's just Unknown Podcast with Kevin and Klaudia. I thought about putting our business name, but no. We'll come up with something cool. And
yeah,
there's probably a name we have chosen when you're listening to this.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All right. Thank you for listening if you just heard us in your ears, and thank you for watching if you are on YouTube. Bye-bye.
Bye.